And as we now go to 5 red lights for the race. And the lights are off. We're being held slightly. And we finally get underway. Tetrabeast jump the start. And we have a safety car start. Right, we have just rejoined. Ready for the 5 red lights. Just about. The Tetrabeast is on pole. The lights are off and away we go. Tetrabeast did get a pretty good start. Tano there in P2. Tucks in behind Tano. Tucks in behind Tetrabeast. Tano didn't get the best of starts. He tries to go down the inside but isn't able to. Bright has got himself up into P3. There's a driver there. I think it was Lopez going wide there. I think we've got Albin and Mick going side by side into turn 3. Mick is able to stay in front. Mick up into P5. Pretty good start from him. And it looked like that Bright and Jacob are going to be very fighty as they go on in the race as well. And as you can see, Bright burning his ERS. However, we see Mick is all over the back of that Haas. Mick moves to the inside. Also, Tano is making his move on Tetrabeast as they go into turn 8. Tano is in front of the Mercedes. Mick also going side by side with the Haas as they go through turn 9. And Jacob is just is just able to stay in front. However, Mick is going to get that slipstream all the way into turn 11. Really, on paper, Tano is going to be the most driver, very vulnerable as we are on lap 3 at the moment. You can see there Tetrabeast in the background is trying to make a move. He moves to the outside. Is he going to be able to make it done? No, he has to stay behind as Tano closes that. Mick has apparently cut the chicane, I think, and has to go straight on, and he now rejoins in P6. Lopez is able to get past. They are still within DRS, so Mick probably hasn't lost a lot of time through there. And you can see there Tetrabeast and Tano going side by side, and Tetrabeast once again has been spun around by Tano into turn 11 there. And Tetrabeast is going to be absolutely furious with the Red Bull as he will start in P7. I think that's Mick as well. Mick has spun out of turn 11 as well. What happened to... I didn't even see what happened to Mick. Lopez in P2. Obviously, you will not have DRS on Jacob. I think that was Bright and Albin going side by side there, as you can see, through turn 9. Albin gets a much better exit out of turn 9 and is able to make the move on the Haas. Jacob as well is all over the back of Lopez. These AlphaTauris can probably try and work together to try and catch up to this Red Bull. And you can see there Jacob going down the inside and will now give his own teammate the slipstream. As you can see there, the AlphaTauri of Lopez going down the inside, and he has made it stick. Good move from the AlphaTauri. Didn't see that one being created, as we did get a pretty bad camera angle for that. But Lopez now up into P2. The tyre wear is probably a bit equal right now, as Jacob has made himself back up into P2 already. And you can see that with the tyre degradation. Jacob now into P2 and Tetrabeast, like I said, now up into P5 as well. He can now try and set his sights for Albin. Now, will Jacob be able to get DRS? Jacob gets a time penalty for exceeding the track there, as he was looking on for a potential win. Has that completely thrown out the window as he just got a bit greedy on track limits. And that for sure is going to hand Tano the win here in the sprint. Lopez has been let through probably by his teammate with that 3 seconds. Tano is going to come round the second to final corner and now drops down to third through the final corner. And he is going to be victorious here at France and will win the sprint race. Will start from pole position in the race. Lopez will finish in P2 with Jacob in P3. Still pretty good points for the AlphaTauris. Albin, despite Jacob's pen, will have to settle for P4. Tetrabeast will finish in P5. Bright will finish in P6. Mick will finish in P7 despite Bright's penalties. And Bull will be finishing in P8 for the sprint. So here we go again for the race now. We've had the sprint and now we have the 27-lap race. 5 red lights. The lights are off and away we go. Tano once again with a very good start, starting on the medium tyres. Albin has a fantastic start there in P4, makes his way up into P2. He's side by side with Jacob. Jacob has to stay behind, but Albin using those soft tyres crucially, and Bright goes off the track there. He's pushed off by probably Tetrabeast or Mick. He now rejoins in P8, but Albin making some crucial gains on those soft tyres and utilize them as he now finds himself in P2. But every other driver starting on medium tyres, so it will be very interesting to see what will happen as Mick is kind of going off the track there and is basically just overtaking everyone off the track, not really too sure what he is doing. Albin has taken the lead of the French Grand Prix and made the overtake on Tano. I really do apologize that I didn't get that. Mick is in P6 battling with Lopez. Lopez has dropped down into P5, so he must have had a horrific start on those mediums, but Mick is side by side with Lopez, now has to tuck in behind to get the slipstream. Tano going quite deep into turn 11. That allows Jacob to go down the inside of turn 11, sorry. Is Jacob going to try and hold it around the outside? He does slightly. Albin goes deep into turn 12 as well. However, Tano will somehow, even after all of that, will stay in P2. Tano was honestly 1 second going to be losing a place and then gaining a place. However, Tano is very wide there, forced off by Jacob. Jacob will gain the place off that. I'm not too sure if Tano will be reporting that, but Techaby on the inside of the Red Bull as well. Is Techaby going to try and make an overtake? Of course he does. He's in P3 and now battling with Jacob going around the outside of turn 2. And Techaby is going to be in P2 momentarily. Jacob is still there on the inside. Techaby just gets in front. However, Tano and Jacob now going side by side as they go into turn 4. Turn 5 now. And Jacob stays in front. Tano will have to stay in P4. Going wide is Bright in the Haas. Mick will now take P5. Mick and Bright are now back in this fight. It's now a 6-car battle for the lead now. Tano making an overtake finally on Jacob. Techaby now taking the lead of the French Grand Prix after being spun out in the early stages of the sprint race. He is now leading with an overtake on Albin. So maybe those mediums now are starting to come to these drivers. Albin is going to try and hold this. Is he going to try and make an overtake on Techaby as they go into turn 11? He tries to go down the inside. No, he spun Techaby again. Techaby for the second time has been spun around, and that definitely was Albin's fault there. Not side by side enough to warrant racing room, and he has unfortunately span. Albin is still side by side with Mick, who is going to be the better out of this. He tries to go down the inside of Tano once again, but he will have to take P3 for now. Jacob is going to be winning this race. Tano in P2, and Albin is there. Bright and Mick going side by side once again. Bright will get in front. Mick will settle for P5, but Tano, as you can see there, going down the inside. And even Albin is going to try and go down the inside as well. Is Bright maybe going to try round the outside in turn 9 on the AlphaTauri? A very good move if he can make that stick. But as they now go down the straight into turn 10, who is going to be in front? It is going to be the Haas driver. That was a great move around the outside. However, he is going to be close to the Alpine there. Tano and Albin going side by side. Albin now retakes the lead of the French Grand Prix with a lovely move. Bright trying down the inside of the Red Bull. Isn't able to do it. We'll try around the outside now of turn 12. And as he gets a little snap of oversteer, Jacob now retakes P3. They're still going to be side by side though as they go into turn 13. Who is going to be the best into turn 15. It's still going to be side by side, but I think Bright has just got the overtake. It is still going to be side by side with those two as they go into turn 1, but Bright now is just ahead. And he stays in P3. Great racing action we are seeing from these top 5. 5-battle car for the lead. As I say again, this is absolutely what we want to see. Tano now around the outside of Albin. Oh, and Tano's gone very wide there. Outbroken himself and will have to take to the escape road, and he's probably going to lose a few positions there. Oh, what is he? Rejoins quite dangerously there on Mick. I'm not too sure if that'll be a penalty, as Tano did kind of rejoin a little bit unfairly there. Side by side is Bright and Albin. Bright now retakes the lead, or takes the lead of the French Grand Prix, if I should say. Tano, I think, has got the better exit through turn 9. And look at that. Tano is already past Mick. So what I didn't even see Tano eyeing up a move on the exit to turn 9. It's not really a usual place to be making overtakes, but Tano has been able to make it work. Jacob is catching up to Bright, but Jacob now will pull the trigger and go to the pit. So does Bright as well. So We will see what tires they go on to. So does Mick as well, I presume, to go on to hards. So Tano is now going to be the alone person out in P1. Tano is just about to get to the end of the pit lane. However, you can see there the Haas jumped him. So is Albin, so is Tetraby, so is Jacob, so is Mick, so has Lopez. Tano has lost all of his positions just from pitting that slight bit, later. He will now be in P7. You can see there the Haas now pulling to the outside as they go into turn 8. And the Haas is now back up into the lead of the race. Now says the Haas and Albin going side by side there. Didn't see that. It's turn 11, turn 12 now. And it's still going to be side by side between the two. Is it going to be Albin or is it going to be the Haas? The Haas just marginally is ahead with a better exit for turn 12 going wide through turn 13 and into turn 14 now. Still side by side between these two. The Haas now ahead as we go into turn 15. However, you can see there the Albin now taking the outside line. Is he going to be able to make it stick? You can see there Tetraby trying to find a move in the middle, but then elects to go to the outside to not get pinched. Albin is now ahead of the Haas, and this is going to be a battle still as they go into turn 3. You can see Tetraby there is trying to go side by side with the Haas. The Haas stays in front as it stands. This is some brilliant racing here. But Albin is going to be all under pressure with all of these drivers behind it. Still a 6 battle for the lead here. This is absolutely fantastic. The Haas, Tetraby, Jacob, Mick, Lopez, all with DRS. Who is going to be able to make this stick? There's battles going on absolutely everywhere. The Haas will stay in the lead. Albin P7, Tetraby P3. They all stay in their respective positions despite having DRS on each other as the Albin goes on the inside of the Haas there into turn 11. Wasn't seeing that, or turn 10, sorry. Now into turn 11. Albin somehow has some better traction and sends one down the inside of the Haas there into turn 10. What a move from Albin as he now retakes the lead. But Tano now is within this battle. So the entire 7 cars in this race, anyone could win this. Absolutely anyone could win this. Lap 16. Anyone can win this. Albin on the inside. Well, outside, sorry. It was the Haas on the inside. The Haas now retakes the lead. No other position changes, though. Albin will stay in P2. Is he going to be able to maybe try and make a move around the inside of turn 10 once again? No, the Haas is covering it off. The Haas is learning what he's doing. However, Albin is going to try it down the inside of turn 11. Is he going to have the traction to make it move? Or to make it stick, sorry. No, the Haas has the better traction to stay in P1. Tano now makes a move on Lopez. Tano now in P6. He's now going to try and start his comeback. Oh, Albin is spun out of turn 2. I don't know if that was someone spinning him. Tano now in P4. He's made an overtake on Mick. And he's also going to make a move on Jacob as well. Forced Jacob slightly off track there. And I think Jacob has been forced to take the whole chicane there. Jacob has got a penalty for it, but I think that can get removed. But has to let a few cars through. Tano and Mick still going side by side. Tano now in P3. Jacob now makes an overtake. And so does Tano as well. And Tetraby now has retaken the lead of the race. Made an overtake on the Haas. Tano on the inside there. Going down the inside of Jacob into turn 10. We'll have turn 11 to just edge ahead once again. And Tano now is back on the podium. The Haas has a much better exit. And they retake the lead down the straight. Has pulled a massive gap as well. Probably used a lot of his ERS there. Mick as well making an overtake on Lopez as well. Very good overtake from the McLaren and the Haas. However, still side by side is going to be the McLaren and the AlphaTauri. The AlphaTauri back in front of Mick. You can see there Tetraby, like I said, down the inside, and he now retakes the lead of the race. Tetraby P1, Bright P2, Tano P3. Mick once again has made an overtake on Lopez. Is Mick going to be able to keep this P5 now, or is he going to lose it once again? Tano down the inside of Bright as well. Very good move from Tano. It is now Tano, a 1-2. Yellow flag. Oh, that's Lopez. I think Lopez has probably spun. So Mick now gets up into P5. He is going to lose it, though, to Albin if he can't pull a bit of a gap between himself and Albin. Down the straight we go. Tetraby is trying to weave to try and break the slipstream. Jacob already passed the Haas. Is Tano going to be past the Mercedes? Down the inside. They're going to go side by side. Tetraby just holds it in the first place position right now. Is Tano going to try and fight it back with ERS? He's going to go down the inside. Is he going to be able to make it stick as they go into turn 10? It's still going to be side by side, slight wheel banging there. Is Tano still going to try and hold it? He's already ahead into turn 11. And Tano is going to now take the lead and will win, obviously, with penalties either way. Tetraby in P2. Is he going to try and make a final battle at the dust? Can he maybe try and get one of his warnings removed? If he can. But Jacob is there in P3. But round the final corner comes Tano, and he will come out victorious. He is going to come across the line to win the French Grand Prix. Tetraby will take P2. Jacob will finish in P3. Bright will finish in P4. Mick will finish in P5, but with that 6-second penalty, he might get overtaken by Albin in P6. He does. Albin takes P5. Mick gets P6. And there is a very long wait for Lopez to cross the line in P7 without a front wing. What a race that was. Honestly, at one point, all drivers in a battle for the lead, and it could have been anyone's race. And it is Tano that gets the driver of the day and the race win. That was a fantastic race, that was.